What up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. And today we're just gonna walk through the farm. I'm just gonna kind of talk about what's been happening around the farm, how our planting's been so far, and how the season's been coming along. And yeah, let's get right into it. All right, y'all. So starting in the front, as always, in the market garden, where most of the action's happening right now. We're literally at the peak of our growing season now. This is a time it's easy to farm in Florida, at least when it comes into a lot of the annual vegetables. Got a very nice lush block of broccoli, some turnips, and cauliflower transplanted. And let me flip the camera and kind of just walk through it. So we have our eggplants growing here. Intercropped with the eggplant is kohlrabi. That is a paper pot transplanted kohlrabi. And we've been picking probably about, I want to say, 20 to 40 pounds of eggplants a week out of these 4 lines. Actually, the variety of these eggplants are called patio baby. And they're just a very small baby type eggplant. I have a few restaurants that actually love these. These are actually one of my favorite eggplants to grow and cook. And yeah, things are looking good and things are looking lush. There's one line that is actually pretty yellow. Probably come through and give some good foliar feeding or some fertilizing. Bananas have also been coming in real strong lately. I feel like right at the beginning of spring, we'll have a lot of Agroforestry planted. Here we go, got a nice lush block of Napa cabbage. We are experiencing some pests here, dealing with the cutworms or those army worms. I'm really avoiding, like, holding back real hard not to spray. My goals, it's been almost 2 years now since I've sprayed any organic stuff. And yeah, I'm typically not wanting to spray because the idea is to create a balanced ecosystem, and there's obviously a stress response or something happening here that it's really attracting these pests. So I gotta really study and observe what's happening here, and kind of adjust my planting. Maybe it's the time of planting, maybe I should plant these a little later. 'Cause it could be just the season for this pest to be more active, or maybe I'm lacking something in my soil. I am up for a soil test. Typically I do my soil test in the beginning of the year, so in the next few weeks I'll probably take the time and do a little soil test, which, if you're interested in seeing how that's done, let me know and I'll do a video on it. But anyways, yeah, I just really want to show off a lot of these bananas, man. They've been fantastic, like looking so lush. And these Agroforestry have been really cranking out. Probably each line has 7 bananas, and out of those 7 bananas, I think there's probably about 5 racks in each line right now. My beets are a little weedy. That's fine. We'll be coming here in a couple of weeks and harvesting it and then turn it over and plant the next thing. And yeah, not too much happening here. Oh, I'll take that back. Kohlrabi, a bunch of daikons, and French breakfast radish. Lettuce block on the other side. Same thing, more daikons and beets. We just paper pot transplanted a bunch of lettuce yesterday, or actually 2 days ago, and another cabbage patch of green cabbage. So another thing this season that's been challenging, or I've actually not, I wouldn't say challenging, that it's my first year experiencing waiting for tomatoes to ripen. These are actual tomatoes that survived the hurricane, and just a week ago they just started to ripen. So now these tomatoes have finally ripened, or are starting to ripen. So we have to actually come through here in this upcoming, actually in the next day or two, and start picking pretty heavy. Yeah, so much tomatoes. But yeah, that's it for the most part. It's just every time something's cropped out, we plant something right away. We never keep a bed open more than a week. Always keeping things planted, either if it's going to be a cash crop or a cover crop. But for the most part, this season and the peak of our growing season, we're always planting our cash crops. High density planting, high rotation, constantly turning and burning. Another thing too, we just re-upped on a bunch of fruit trees. So if you're interested, we're slowly building up our inventory of different fruit trees that are relevant to our context in this area for mostly backyard producers. And also we're getting ready to have currently we're planning our spring plant sale that we're gonna have. It looks like February 15th, we're gonna have a plant sale here at the farm along with a bunch of other friends of ours, and pretty much setting up an event that it's a one-stop shop for everything you need for your gardening needs, especially to jumpstart the spring season for planting, either if it's an annual garden or if it's a food forest, kind of catering both aspect of it, or have the two integrated. Just last week we released a video on our food forest nest package. If you haven't seen it, check it out. We're offering these complete packages on these food forest nests, and just an alternative planting to the lines that we typically are doing, that you can go ahead and plant multiple nests. Actually, I'm right here currently on one of our sites that we prepped with multiple nests, and within these nests we're practicing Syntropic within, and utilizing those principles within nests, but instead of managing them and designing it in these little agroforestry lines, we're having these little pockets of food forest nests. So you can see here, Mombasa is slowly about to take off. We have a Tithonia that looks like it's took off. Our seed bomb. Here's a pineapple slip that we had. Looks like we got some, looks like some collards or some sort of brassica that I have planted in the seed bomb mix, along with a squash, and either jackbean or Mabuno cowpea, and another type of squash. But it looks like the seeds are just starting to germinate. I did plant some sort of brassica in that seed bomb mix just because originally I wanted to germinate quicker than that. I imagine when I planted these nests, it was back in late November, and just taking our cool season in consideration. So typically the warmer season stuff will germinate, but it'll germinate a lot slower than the cooler stuff. So typically the brassicas would have germinated quick, but I guess I didn't do it in this context, in this setting. But I'm not too mad. Hopefully we don't get a heavy frost that it kills that back. But I'm hoping with this planting density, and even what we experienced here when we got our first frost earlier this month, that this whole area actually didn't really experience it much. And as more of this grass fills in, more of the other annual vegetables on the outside, even though these are warm loving crops. At least it'll kind of protect some of these tender stuff that I would rather thrive. A lot of these are my placenta 2 type species here, and then these mostly are placenta 1. But I'm really happy how the nest is coming along. It'll look pretty cool once everything kind of flows into each other. I do probably need to come back. Actually, no. One thing too, if you ever buy Mombasa divisions or whatnot, if you see the Mombasa die back, don't be discouraged that it's completely gone. It will sprout up from its rime zones or from the root zone and send out a new shoot. So even though the top half looks dead, the root part will be still alive and they'll continue growing, as you can see here. So these are all Mombasa divisions that I did that actually the tops didn't make it, but they're still good and lush that they're sprouting from the root zone. So another thing I want to add to this, it's crazy to have zucchini at this time of year. Typically this is every time I grow fall zucchini into the winter, this is what we deal with. It's a type of mosaic virus. It's still edible, just doesn't look nice, but I planted this more so as a support to keep the ground cover. But overall, the plant looks super lush, super healthy, and keeping this covered. It's done now. Here's our Napa cabbage. Everything looking lush. This whole back system is actually looking really good. Really satisfied how the design of this whole system and the flow and how I planned out the plantings and the layout of this whole entire system. I've actually been pretty stoked. It's been a little challenging coming back and filling in some gaps in our avocado lines and within our banana lines. One thing that I definitely failed in my design, that I didn't plant enough emergent species right off the bat in the beginning. And that's also because I didn't have a tremendous amount of propagation of material. I was still on the hunt and I just wanted to plant out these lines, and I worked with what I had available. But now kind of coming back in and filling in the gaps, it's been a little challenging. It's always hard to let those eucalyptus, which is my preferred emergent species, to get a good head start. But for the most part, the avocados have been looking good and lush. There's a lot of pigeon pea in there going to flower now. And yeah, during the spring. So usually the next time we'll have a heavy agroforestry reset, and we'll have a whole systematic, whole synchronized reset from the market garden to the back. I want the whole entire farm, even the peach orchard, would be around Valentine's Day. I feel like around that time, everything really starts to bloom and express itself, kind of break through that dormancy, is around that February 15th mark. It's also when we start doing splittings on our beehives. So swarming season begins, so we start splitting then. And it's a good time too, because it's typically around February 15th, we're pretty much in the full clear of getting any sort of cold, like frost or any big cold blast. So a lot of our heat sensitive crops, our cold sensitive crops, won't mind us bringing down a lot of the canopies and doing a heavy reset and filling in. And yeah, so that's just usually, it's been my mark, is February 15th. So February 15th, there'll be a heavy reset, which it's tough. I've been holding back a lot. We have a lot of things going to senescence. There's sunflowers, or the Mexican sunflowers, or the Tithonia, have been going into full bloom. Same thing with the pigeon peas, which I don't want the pigeon peas to really go into bloom. These are just planted as support. And yeah, that's essentially it. This Napa cabbage looks like we'll probably harvest in a couple weeks, but same thing, we're dealing with a lot of pests in this back system as well. You can see here, it's pretty chewed up. Not too bad, I guess, but a lot of the outer leaves are fairly chewed up. I gotta keep studying this pest and observing its behavior patterns and what really attracts them. Like I said, I really want to avoid spraying in general. All right, next thing is this cover crop. I have a whole entire cover crop that I put on the understory of the avocado line, and also on the moringa and papaya lines. And yeah, just trying to keep the ground cover and just keep building up organic matter. Another reason why I originally came through here and broadcast a bunch of cool season cover crop seed is because we had a heavy pruning right before the hurricane, and a couple weeks after the hurricane, everything kind of was a little bit stunted, and seems it was that the growth of everything slowed down a bit. So I wanted to keep the ground cover. I didn't think the Mubasa would bounce back in time, which it ended up doing. But yeah, things are looking good. Got these in this whole mix. It's mostly mustards and kales, and then there's also tillage daikons. So you can see here we got some, let's see, yep, got some nice tillage daikons in there. Just break into that soil and bring organic matter down below. But yeah, this is how it's looking down the forest line. Still got a fallen eucalyptus. I don't know if I should just go ahead and prune it and then erect it back up, or just go ahead and terminate it and let it compass from the roots and pick out a new later and let it regrow. But yeah, anyways, y'all, let's see, let's move on to the next. All right, so we're in the very back system where I have guavas, bananas, and mangoes as my target species. And this is also where I grow most of my propagation materials for other planting around the farm and other installs I do elsewhere. But nice thick grass line of Napier coming in nice. Do need to come through here and do a little weed whacking. I really also want to come through and cut back on more of these bananas. There's way too many banana pups happening, and also just to keep allowing more sunlight to get my eucalyptus. Which the benefit of this whole system coming down during the hurricane is that I've been able to kind of come back and replant and plant in a bunch more eucalyptus into the system, as you can see. But the problem with doing that is bananas grow a lot faster than that eucalyptus. So it's always a battle to keep chopping it. It's always a constant battle to slash and stash it, and to stay on top of it so that eucalyptus can really surpass and get past that height of these banana pups. Back here too, things are kind of looking a little rough. This is an actual seed crop that I have for jack bean, and then it's going to transition into Napier. As you can see, before the jack bean died back, I planted Napier on the understory, and yeah, essentially just as I planned, I'll come through here once these jack bean pods dry up. I'll harvest them, and I'll probably come here and mow it. And the benefit of then mowing it too is we'll get nicer flushes of that Napier grass that's within this line. So that's what I'm slowly transitioning this back system to. So we'll have a banana eucalyptus line with Tithonia on the outside, then with a line of Napier. So, and then it follows by a guava and mango line. So that'll be essentially the pattern. So banana eucalyptus, Tithonia, Napier, mango guava, and then there's also still eucalyptus within that line. Again, Napier, Tithonia, then the banana eucalyptus line, Tithonia again, then I'll go back to Napier. Then yeah, that pattern continues all the way down Another thing too that I have planted back here is turmeric. But the turmeric is now dormant, and also I'm growing out this turmeric for propagation material. After the Napa cabbage comes out, we're actually going to put bulbing onions there. And what I'll probably end up doing when we're planting those bulbing onions is start the divisions from dividing the rhyme zones from the turmeric and interplanting it with the onions. And that turmeric is going to take a while for it to fully emerge. And the time we pull out the onions, that should be around the time that the turmeric is starting to emerge, and then my canopy is setting in that system to create the environment that turmeric would want to be, which is a low strata, and creating that understory, that nice shady environment for them. Meanwhile, there'll still be enough light in the system to have bulbing onions grow out properly. Timing is key when you're doing these types of planting, and knowing the growth rate of every single crop that you're growing, what their DTM is, how long they take to grow. Like, you really need to study each crop and then time it right. And then also you're timing it right with the systems that they're getting planted in. Like I said, because eventually this whole system is going to be too shady for me to grow a high strata crop like cabbage. Or onions, I feel like can take a lot of that medium strata, so that's also why I feel comfortable from going from a Napa to green onions to turmeric. Would have been best if I had a better planning, is to plant this all at once. That we plant the Napa with the onions and the turmeric all at once, and that actual succession would actually play out, and it would have been great because we're ready there working. We do one big planting, and then that's it. From that point, we're just harvesting for the next few months. Like, it'll start off with Napa cabbage. After that gets harvested and the green onions start growing out, then we come in and harvest the green onions, and then voila, the turmeric starts emerging. But you don't know these things till you start really playing it, or start planting it out and putting it into tests and actually experience it for yourself in your own context. But timing is key for a lot of these things, especially interplanting. But anyways, that's just a quick insight on that, or just a little insight on some plantings of what I might have done different, or what I'm doing, or what I've learned. Another thing is peach orchard. It's pretty dormant now. Starting in the new year, we'll go ahead and do a light prune. Actually, sorry, let me take that back. We already started doing our dormant pruning, which is pretty much just bringing the height down, just topping them off, having a nice flat top on these peaches. I'm only trying to keep them around 8 feet tall. Let's see another tree here. You can see. Here's another good one that was just pruned recently. And yeah, just getting all the peach trees synchronized to that height, and set up the irrigation again, and actually rewire our irrigation. All that. All right, y'all. Well, that's essentially it. Just kind of a quick little walkthrough around the farm, where the farm stands at this time of the year. This is late December. Happy holidays to y'all, and a happy new year. Definitely looking forward to the new year and what I have planned for this channel, and the content that we'll be pushing out here soon. Another thing too, subscribe and follow us on Instagram and here on YouTube. We have some big events coming up here shortly, and on top of that, we're coordinating a really special workshop here sometime in June, in collaboration with someone else. Don't want to announce it yet. We're still working out a lot of the details. Until then, y'all, take it easy.